enlightenment, education, and entertainment, Father God, for every listener. I ask, Lord Jesus, that every listener will be engrossed, will be tuned. Those who will be attached to Sports Rap will find something in there that will encourage their lives, that will uplift their minds, that will cause them to think about themselves and lives and what is good and better for them. Mm. Lord, empower the hosts, grant them wisdom as they elaborate and they discuss the issues. I ask that you will open your hearts and their minds themselves, Father God, that whatever they share will be good food for everyone who's listening. Bless the listeners and thank you for using the hosts of the program. We will be mindful to give you thanks and praise and glory and honor in Jesus' name. Amen. The way I see this further I should to be. Cause now every man's got this delicate and overflowing. Rather than nothing that was wrong, yeah. Take it than before. We really chance that we could have run things, but it never looks so anymore. No. Come down, Father, come down. Come down, Father, come down. Never just come down, Father. Come down, baby. Come down, Father. Come down. In my heart, I know that you won't let your chosen people suffer. I know you'll never let us down. No, no. Many times I could have picked up my gun, I could have go out the street and played it down. That's no fun, no. Sure ain't no fun, cause I think of if the other man brings the sign, then bullets fall like rain. It's no fun, no. No, it's no fun. Oh, I see greed and I see selfishness. Every man is for himself. Only you can talk to the Father, cause they listen to no one else, no. Come down, Father, come down. I beg you, come down, Father, come down, Lord. To the hearts of those responsible, let them know their actions are despicable. Remind them that it's you who wears the crown. Come down, Father, come down, yes. Come down, Father, come down, God. Oh, come down, Father.
Yes, and Barry says, come down. He's asking the Father to come down because, as he said, a lot of things are going around here, wickeder than before. That's what Barry says, you know. Yeah, and he says, Low Black, he see greed and selfishness. He says, every man for himself. That's what Barry Saman is telling us in song. A lot of things around here, wickeder than before, he says. Low Black, I guess you went to church over the weekend?
Yes, Sebastian, well, as usual, that's not as usual. I understood that Tim Tudor died.
Yes, John Julian, the brother of Julius Timothy, who passed away last year, he's gone.
Former Celtic man.
Yeah, the
prison
water as well. Former prison water. Yeah, right. He's John Julian.
You all played cricket together, Sebastian?
No, I don't. I'm trying to wonder if he played.
Yeah, he
played. I played with people like Jarvis. Pishy, who again for Celtic in those days? Jarvis, Charles Marie played.
Yeah. Monroe.
Yeah. Well, people like Royston and Bless John.
Yes.
The brothers played. I mean, Celtic was a powerful team. And
he played both football and cricket for Celtics.
Yeah, John Julian. Well, he played before my time, for sure.
Right.
Before my time. Yeah. We want to express condolences to his family. In fact, his brother's company sponsors Sports Rap. Yeah. So.
And
I was a bit shocked though when I saw the text and somebody tell me, and the person says, John Julian. I say, what? And then I ask the question. He say, yes, is that Tim's brother? I say, wow. Yeah,
Because
that's last year Tim left us. Yeah.
I saw him at the brother's funeral
Mm-hmm.
last year. And but look at,
Mm-hmm.
and we are just showing you how we are just temporary on this earth, Sebastian. You don't know.
Yeah, well, what Chubby said, he said, pass it, nuclear pass it. That's what Chubby
You
said.
know,
He said, we
all
pass
of
it.
us, that's me. It's so rare. His condolences to his family and them very, the family, husband,
I think he has
wife,
a son who is an attorney, right? I think he has a son.
Yes, a son that's an attorney.
Yeah, he has a
Yeah,
son.
and may his soul rest in peace, you know.
Yes, John Julian.
John Julian.
Dr. Fontaine is supposed to be calling us in a while to tell us about by the way, tonight, Lobby, the national coach, the interim they call him, supposed to be in studio to join us. In fact, if they're ready, and we also be speaking to the president of the Athletics Association. He's going to be telling us what happened in Grenada. The Dominica team didn't do very well at the Carifta.
Well, Sebastian, when I hear about we don't I mean something don't expect. You compare you only first team island, I think, without a track presently. And everything is just progressive. Because you look at Guyana, what they have been doing since they have built their track, they've been doing well. And
Lobby, it's not now we're not doing well, so let's not make that.
No. I still have to talk about that because when I
anyway, the president will be here, so we will have the CWI director of cricket. So some of the questions you were asking last week, that will be a chance to ask them. He'll be with us as well.
Look, you bring people on the program and they don't do answer.
No, but the question you were asking last week, that wasn't for him to answer.
But Sebastian, you are aware, if you do a survey in the Caribbean right now, you know exactly, have been involved in sports, Sebastian. You know, after tournaments, people look at in terms of your successes. They might even fire you. It's what's the deal in the Caribbean right now. We are not doing well, and as far as they know that heads should roll.
Well, we're in a country that not doing well and heads not rolling at all.
Right.
So heads not rolling at all.
The West Indies cricket is in shambles.
Well, the whole Caribbean shambles. Look, I see now Trinidad objecting to the renewal, the contract renewal of the CARICOM Secretary General. So Trinidad is upset.
What I found interesting last week, let me tell you, before you get to that thing there, it came out that Gibson, you said also that the board is into serious financial problems now. How you could be, if you drop A and you bring in B, but you bring in B, you add in somebody else to your staff.
That is why I say you will ask this question when he comes to the West Indies director of cricket. These are questions you must ask him.
Never answer questions. So I didn't want to ask him questions.
So we'll ask him this question, right?
It's a boys' club that day, boys' club.
Well, we'll hear about all those things. We still haven't heard Dr. Fontaine. He's supposed to be telling us about the meeting in Campbell tonight. We're waiting on him. Maybe it's he that's calling there. I don't know. Yes, let's see if it's him. Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
Dr. Fontaine, that's you?
Yes, that's me on the line.
Right. Well, tell us, you're not in studio tonight, so you want to tell people where you are. People asking questions. Where are you?
Yes. I was not able to make the studio, Timo, because we are currently in the village of Campbell, where we'll be having a public meeting due to start in a few minutes. Hopefully, 6:30 start. It's not we start at 7, but the idea is to have a public meeting in the beautiful village of Campbell this evening.
So you say you start at 6:30. So obviously after Sports Wrap, will you all be joining live? Will you all be joining live from?
No, well, we expect if we start on time, we expect to be done by 8 o'clock. It's not a long.
It's just a village meeting, right?
It's not a national meeting.
Okay.
It's just a meeting for the village where we look at issues that are impacting on the village. And just encouraging the people themselves to go out there and confirm. Yesterday we spent some time out there in the village, encouraging persons to go out and confirm. And several of them promised us that they would do that today, even. So we are very happy with that effort to get people out to the confirmation centers.
So what are some of the things you're going to be discussing tonight at that meeting? Some of the burning issues?
One of the major areas we want to focus on, because it's something that we've found out since we have been doing the rounds in Campbell, is that this was once a very profitable village in the sense that agriculture was huge in the village, and a number of persons made their living through agriculture. That is now gone. In fact, we are told that a number of persons have even left the village as a result of that and moved elsewhere because they're no longer profiting out of agriculture. So we want to assure the people of Campbell that agriculture is one of our major areas of focus to bring the country back up, and Campbell must play a big role in that. They are also concerned about the fact that for many, many years they have been promised that some of persons would have to be moved because it was declared a disaster area. And in fact, one of the complaints they have is that they're not able to sell their property because the banks will not give loans for land that has been ruled to be in a disaster area. So people, they have not been moved. They have their properties. Some of them want to get rid of, and they're not able to do it because of that constraint that the government has. So in spite of the promise to move them to Warner, none of that has materialized. In fact, they have the sense in Campbell that they have been forgotten by this government because they have seen other villages been moved successfully. And Campbell, that was one of the first areas to be declared a natural disaster area, has not benefited anyway. And then the third major issue that they're concerned about is the Campbell-Despo Road. That is a road, by the way, that the United Workers' Party started when they were in office to join the Campbell and Despo community, and also to allow the people an extra avenue. If the major road, for example, the road on the coast there, if that road is no longer passable, then they'll be able to access the interior and even the airport through that road. That road was started by the UWP, and when the Labour Party came into office, they discontinued it. And the people of Campbell are complaining bitterly because they felt that this was a really great initiative by the Workers' Party. It would open up additional agricultural land between Despo and Campbell. And it's something that, as a government, as a party now waiting to form the next government, we have been talking to them about. That's one of the things that we'll certainly look into. We're trying to see if we're able to at least complete that road and give them the access. And of course, if our focus on agriculture, the heavy focus on agriculture, that becomes even more important because you'll be able to open up several hundred acres of land for agriculture in that area.
Okay, right. So, Dr. Funke, we want to wish you the best. Obviously, I hope it's a successful meeting. And I guess when you join us next week, I'm sure you will tell us everything about that meeting. So, have a good night. Eh?
Yes, thank you, Steve. Right. Thank you.
So what we'll do, we'll go to our first ad break now because our first guest is already in studio. So we'll take our first ad break. So when we get back, we will go straight to him. Sorry, man. Everything good?
Walk in and order all your chicken parts, wholesale, and even enjoy retail. It's at AC Shillingford. All chicken parts available that you can afford. Fresh breast. And you know breast is the best. Shillingford wings have muscle. After you eat it, you can fly. As for Shillingford chicken drumsticks, even swinging stars just order drumsticks from Shillingford. And for those of you who love Pull, AC Shillingford keeps your belly full. Buy your chicken wholesale at AC Shillingford. From wings to thighs to drums to breasts to backs to necks. It's available. It's always available and it's affordable. Plus, you've got pork feet, ham and turkey, bull foot, chicken nuggets, pepperoni, all those right seasonings to make your kitchen keep on ticking. Buy your wholesale chicken at AC Shillingford. When you think of chicken, think of AC Shillingford. Always fresh.
Dominica, it's game time. On or off the field, every goal, corner kick, every penalty. From cricket to football to netball to basketball, Del Magis is Dominica's #1 and only all-star sports all gear, all uniform, all access sports center. Get all your team and individual all sportswear, accessories, and fitness comfort apparel. Del Magis got it all. From Nike to Lacoste to Puma, Adidas, Sacco Bunny, Levi's, football boots in all sizes, hoses, shin guards, goalkeeper gloves, sneakers for running, jogging, walking, climbing, hiking, or tracking, softball, cricket ball, sports trophies, and all sports gear and wear. Your sports dominance begins at Del Natchez. Oubliez jouer, sway, sauter, marcher, éventuer, track pants, top, shorts, sports bras. In all neutral or delicate fluorescent colored sports fabrics. Only at Del Natchez. Proud sponsor the Sports Wrap. Interactive sports review, results, analysis, predictions, and sports commentary. Del Natchez, Arcade George 5th Street, lower down from Ace Shillingford Shopping Center.
Trapita, they're always willing to provide us with local Trapita water, and we want to thank Josephine Gabriel and company for that. We mustn't, and AC Shillingford, always willing, and Del Natchez themselves, located between close to, well, Lobby always said the Port Michel bus stop. So that's what Del Natchez is, close to between AC Shillingford and Jolly Pharmacy. Right. So we have in studio with us the interim coach, that's how they describe him, of Dominica now, Mr. Kurt Hurd. Mr. Hurd, good evening.
Good evening, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Been described as a few things before, so the interim head coach isn't a bad one.
Well, that's how I heard they describing you as the interim head coach. Well, you just came back with the national team from the Dominican Republic, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we didn't do too well. Dominica, well, in fact, from what we know, Dominica didn't score a goal. In fact, I don't think most people saw the game because not like other times where you could have seen some TV. We didn't see it, so I cannot really comment. So we were depending on you to tell us what happened. We didn't get a goal. What happened, Mr. Hurd?
Yeah, the boys never scored, but I think in the first half against Guyana, I was saying that these guys came into a training camp with probably 4 to 5 months of no competitive football. You're coming in, the guys are out of shape. They're not ready to go and match the likes of a Guyana. And that first half, to be honest, I mean, the guys still stuck to the game plan, but they sat a little bit too deep and gave a little bit too much respect. Probably got overawed by the tempo and intensity that Guyana can play at. And we changed that in the second half. We came back out. We had a good go. I think there was an interview with the Guyana head coach where he talks about, not many teams will put Guyana on the back foot like we did. And the second half, we were really good. We hit the post. We created a couple opportunities. We could have had a penalty kick. We didn't. But ultimately, the scoreboard still read 0 at the end of it. But to go toe-to-toe with a team like Guyana, as the boys did in the second half, was incredible. Really, really good. The St. Martin game, honestly, till the day I'm no longer here, it'll haunt me that we've not scored in that game. The chances that we passed up were incredible. The goalkeepers made a couple of good saves, but ultimately, the boys let themselves down in front of goal. We created enough chances to win that game 3-4 times.
I understand that I don't know what formation you used, but I understand you played 5 at the back. Is that true? Is that a fact?
We played 3 at the back. Yeah, so we played 3 at the back with the wing backs almost in midfield. So yeah, we played with a back 3.
A back 3, not 5, not a back 5.
No, I mean at times it may look like a back 5, but the way that we wanted to play, there was 3 centre backs, there was 2 wing backs who were almost playing as wingers, and then we had a little bit more coverage in front. So we had a back 3.
Yes, you had a back 3, and how many you had up front? 1, 2?
2. So yeah, we had 2 up top. So it wasn't like we didn't go into these games defensively. We didn't go in to try and protect the goal. We went to be aggressive. We went to win the games. We went to do our best. Or, we went to play on the front foot, which I feel like the boys did. So I can't ask any more of the guys. The guys played on the front foot. We didn't sit back and defend. They did that the first half against Guyana. That wasn't the game plan. We spoke about that at half time. I think there was a mentality or something within these guys before where it was to sit back and defend and protect the goal, and they've reverted back to that in the first half of that game. But we had a good, open, honest conversation about it, and the players held their hands up and said, yeah, we probably sat a little bit too deep. Like I say, second half we change it, we go out, and in the St. Martin game we do the same. We go out, we're aggressive, and we played well that day. We did really well that night.
Well, let me ask you. So the instruction from you to the players was that we're going to be attacking. We don't want to be defensive at all. Was that the instruction? your players?
Yeah, well, I mean, we had an organisation and structure behind the ball to defend and to be organised and frustrate the opposition. You have to. The reality is that Guyana are a better side than us, right? So if I completely neglect any defensive organisation, I'm not doing my job. So of course we had to have defensive organisation in there. And I mean, although St Martin unranked, you look at now St Martin beating Aruba, Puerto Rico, beating us previously, a very good outfit. Again, you need to have some sort of sense of organisation behind the ball. But again, I'd never sit there and say to the boys, we're going to sit back and defend, because that doesn't win games of football. So we wanted to go and play. We wanted to go and be aggressive. We wanted to press high up the park. We wanted to move the ball. And it's something that's different for the boys. It's something that they hadn't worked on, something they hadn't been coached with before. Everything was a new experience for them. So, but yeah, we never sit back to defend.
But earlier you said that some of the boys hadn't played for a while. So obviously, from what I'm hearing from you, that they might not have been fully fit going into that game.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. And you know, we didn't have any matches to warm us up to go for that. So, I mean, if you imagine you coming out of Premier League season, albeit some of them might have played a game or two in the Champions Cup here, but you imagine your season finished in October, November, and then you're into international games in March. And between that, you know, although we were training, there was no games. And the players need to take a little bit of responsibility to look after themselves as well and do the extras. It's not all on everybody else. But the players, they came into that, I would say, you know, and they were definitely overawed by the pace and tempo of Guyana in that first half.
Lobby, I look at you, I notice you want to ask the coach a couple of questions, eh?
Well, yes, Sebastian, you know that one of my concern I have right now for Dominica football right now, we need to have a permanent coach right now, because interim, every coach comes with something new. You need to have somebody permanent right now to establish himself. Based on what I heard, that he did a good job based on his experience, his knowledge. All right, but I just say that he's just there as the interim. You need to have somebody. I don't know if he agrees with me that you need to have somebody permanent so they can go. You know, but because if he leaves, you have another interim. Everybody has his own style. Does the team benefit from that?
Yeah, Lobby, firstly, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you very much. But yeah, I do completely agree, and I think the players agree as well. They need somebody. And this job needs somebody that will give consistency to the players and to the organisation and the technical development and everything around it. It needs consistency, and it definitely needs somebody in there permanently, which I know the Football Association are trying to do at the minute. But yeah, no, I do completely agree. And like you say, every coach has got their own style. They've got their own way of coaching, their own way of playing. And to then, put the players through that, a brand new idea, a brand new methodology, a brand new way of coaching every sort of, few months, certainly won't benefit them, And I found that when we had our 7 to 8 weeks of training as a team, it's even for me, 3 times a week after the guys have got work, it's never long enough to introduce a style, right? We were able to put things in place to start to implement a methodology and a game plan and et cetera. But really you need, months and months, to really hammer home what you want to do. So yeah, I do agree. And like I say, I appreciate the kind words at the start. Thank you.
Another question is this, having seen Dominica footballers, you look first of all at the CONCACAF team. Look at the CONCACAF teams. A number of these teams have players, overseas players, unlike Dominica. All right. What do you think our players have to do to get in term to move on to these bigger leagues?
I think even when I looked at that there, football in the Caribbean is rising at a rate, and I look at St. Lucia had 11 overseas, BVI and Cayman had 14 overseas, and we took 3 if you include Troy Jules from Antigua. That was my decision though. Obviously things are a little bit more difficult here to get overseas players because of the legislation with the passports. So that's not a fault of anybody at all. So there's obviously that hurdle to overcome. In terms of the local players, it's difficult because I find, we have to find a way of creating more competitive action here on the island for them. We have to make it more challenging. We have to push them. We really have to make that more difficult, more professional for the guys on the island. But again, those guys live in a comfort zone. They came to me in January when the season had finished in November, and nobody had done their own work. It was so the players also need to take responsibility for that. I think though what I will do, and I'll credit the players, is that I see now that we've worked with them, and I was with one of them today who was telling me he was out for a run this morning and he's doing this and he's doing that, and I think we've managed to implement maybe a bit of the mentality within the players. Hopefully that continues. But yeah, I think the massive one: nutrition, strength conditioning. All these are massive things if you want to go and play overseas. And we don't have the facilities or the personnel at the minute to help us with that.
So you don't have a strength and conditioning coach. You don't have that, right?
As we travelled, there was no athletic coach. So it was myself that undertook the physical recovery, the physical development of the team. It was myself and Coach Orris that travelled with the team. So that was the team. So yeah, there was no. But again, I have a level of understanding, of course, and I can implement that. But yeah, there definitely needs to be a little bit more around strength conditioning, especially we talk. Football's so advanced now; it's such a physical game. You have to make sure that the players are at their peak, ready to perform. You have to make sure that they're, your training loads are perfect to get them immaculate on match day. That's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of knowledge and understanding. We need to. I think it's something we need to look at a little bit more for the players on island.
You came to Dominica on a particular assignment from FIFA, right?
Yeah.
I heard you on probably a different radio station talking about you wouldn't mind being the national coach. Have you applied for it, or are you going to apply for it, or have you been spoken to by private conversation, the people on the Football Association?
No, nothing like that. The last conversation I had was with Mr. Etienne and to ask me to undertake this for these games. Mm-hmm. And I since then we spoke briefly after the games. There's been no conversation around what happens next or whatever. And I say, for me, I'd be crazy not to be interested. And I feel like we've started something now. We're on a journey with the players, and I'm on a personal journey with the organisation and the people on the island and everything like that, where, and I think for me, it's the greatest honour that anybody can bestow upon you to lead a national team. So for me, there's definitely interest on my side, but I understand that, the DFA have to make a decision, and I completely support the decision either way, whichever way it may be. I'll always support the organisation. I'll always support the boys. So whatever happens. But I'm still here, and I'm still doing my job with the younger ones at the minute.
But will you apply for the job?
Yeah, I mean, the application process closed.
Right, that's what I'm
right. And yeah, I didn't put my name in out of respect for the previous coach. I didn't put my name in. I did verbally make myself known.
Available.
Yeah. So I did make myself verbally available. So like I said, it's entirely.
So you think when they're shortlisting people, your name might be in the hat? You believe?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can look at it. Everybody's talking about how there's been improvements in the team, and ultimately, yeah, like all the players and all the staff are really happy around it, and there has been progress because you go from losing to St. Martin to now drawing with St. Martin. We played a good game. The Guyana are an incredible team at the minute, and we pushed them back and battled. I think if you look at it, yeah, of course, I feel like I deserve to be in the conversation. But football's a results-based business, and ultimately, like you said at the top of the show, I came back with no wins and no goals. So I understand as well if somebody, wants to say, hey. But like I say, for me, football's not always about results. I think if you look at the performances, I think if you look at how we've made the players feel, the improvements in certain players, I think you'll see that we're onto a really good thing.
Question.
Go ahead, Lobby.
Yes, question for the coach. You're talking about Guyana. Guyana, first of all, their level. And other teams, the top teams in CONCACAF, because that is always my concern over the years, how deep we don't get deep enough into CONCACAF.
Yeah.
Tactically and technically, you're looking at our players that you have seen the players. Which area do we think we have to improve on? We have to work on. You said you said all
to be honest,
huh?
No, to be honest, see tactically, those guys have improved so much. I think the level of detail that we were able to give and the tactical discipline we were able to push over, I think those guys tactically is not a problem. Technically, there's still faults there.
For example, yes. I think let us say that I was looking at it, that you become the national coach. Let's say you become a national coach, plus the other assignment which you have, your knowledge. Do you think, I'm thinking of that for us to go far, you're looking at the teams we have, the coaches, would you think that it would be good that whether you having become the coach, you'd be able to amass a level of assistance to the coaches where you can assemble them at one particular time, now and again, to assist them? Because it's good that the teams can be looking at a system. You find every team, there's different system being played in the league, but there's a common system where you yourself will be utilizing in the national team. But do you think that if you become the national coach, that you think it would be a good decision to bring in the other coaches now and again, where you can have a discussion with them, have some technical and tactical work with them?
Yeah, I believe so. But that's something we've already done. I've made myself available in the academy, and the national team training sessions that we've done in the evening were all open sessions. Anybody can come down Stock Farm, anybody can come and ask me questions. I even handed out quite a lot of my work and the session plans to some of the Premier League coaches as well, so that they could try that back with their clubs. It's one of my jobs here is to help develop the coaches technically at all levels. It's not an easy job to do, and I think DFA, Mr. Badwell, and those guys are working hard to support the coaches and to get us through the coaching convention. But I think it's one of those. I have been doing it, and I intend to continue doing it. And to anybody that's listening, all the academy sessions are all, anybody can come up and help out. MD can come out and have a look and have a watch and ask questions. Same with national team. And if I can help with any session plans, I'm always there. I like to think that the local coaches know that and they can pick the phone up.
Question again. For example, let us come back again. You become the national coach of the team, the Dominican national team. You're looking at the present team you have, and you had a say in terms of overseas players. Which area on the field team you'll be looking to add in terms of strengthening your team?
Well, we already brought in the centre back with Titus. I think
How about the midfield?
Yeah, of course. If there's a midfielder that's good enough, the thing is though, I'm not going to just take a player because he's overseas. I would take a player because he's better than what we have.
I agree with you. I share your sentiments. I like the best.
If you find me a midfielder who's better than what I have, I'll take that midfielder. But if you don't, I'll work with the midfield we have here. That's the reason why we only took 3. There was maybe 1 or 2 others we could have taken, but for me, I'm never going to take a player I don't find. If you're coming from overseas, you have to be 2 or 3 levels above what I have.
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
You can't just be a little bit better than what we have on the island.
I agree with you, but basically, as I said, for us to go deep into CONCACAF, we have to raise our standard. We have to raise it.
Yeah, for sure. You see, I see, and it actually brings me a lot of pride when I watch it now, and I've got a bit of an affinity with the region now, and when I see BVI doing well, and when I see St. Lucia improving, I see Anguilla improving, and all these places, it's great to see, and you just, I know that we'll get there. We'll get there with it. We're on a journey as well of improvement. Maybe a little bit, a different timeline of that improvement, but we're definitely on that. We're definitely on that chapter as well, and we'll get there. But it's great to see you, like you say, football in the region is now improving at a crazy rate. If you look at even a St. Martin team from previous, and you look at St. Martin now, if you get a chance to watch them, or like I say, a BVI, where they were 5 years ago to where they are now, is it's now a high level, and we have to go and match that. And if that's one of the things we have to do is looking overseas for players that are playing more competitively, then I think that's something we have to look at. But I think if you come from overseas, you have to be levels above what we have.
I agree with you. You have to be above. But
the thing about it is that we are not winning matches. We went to Guyana. We didn't even score a goal. Before that, we went to St. Kitts. We lost both matches. We are not winning. What do we have to do to get to the level? I mean, where we need to start winning matches? Because when you keep losing, it's not a good habit to keep losing.
No, of course, but I think that's where we have to sit down and be honest with ourselves. And I think a lot of the talk, even before we played St. Martin, was, how do you guard against complacency? We should be beating St. Martin. I don't think we've got any right to go and beat anybody in this region now, the way that football is. And I think we have to realise that, understand that, and change the structure and organisation of what we're trying to do a little bit, and prepare ourselves more professionally. But again, it's one of those. I like to think that what we've done is we've instilled a little bit of belief in the group that after those games in November, I mean, honestly, I think if you could talk to any of the boys or any of the staff, there's a lot of belief there in what we were doing. We didn't get long to implement it before we travelled, but I firmly believe there's a belief there in those guys that we can go and get a Guyana, we can go and get a Bermuda, we can go and chase these guys. It just needs organisation, structure, a lot of detail, and the guys need guided. But
when you say organizational structure, explain. What do you mean?
On the field, off the field.
Okay.
So I mean, in terms of a lot of the work that we done was tactical work, and it was making sure that the boys were organised and structured on the field, but off the field as well. Organisation around when they eat, what they eat, how they eat, when they sleep, when they train. All the organisation that goes into and even like the video sessions and trying to get GPS, trying to get data to see what the guys are doing. All these different little things to show them how, because it starts with.
Hold on.
It starts with me. If I show them how serious I am about it, and I show them how dedicated I am about it, they must follow. Because if they don't, then they're out the door. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Good evening, caller. Good evening.
Good evening, Dominica. Good evening, Sibo. As far as I see, them man have the best coach. They have the best advisors. Things that them man have, we never used to have in our days of playing football. It boils down to you personally, Sibo. What level of football you want to play? What is your goal? If you want to be a superstar, that's where I think they're lacking. To what level they want to play? Because in Dominica we have that problem. We settle for less. You could see that in our politicians. You could see that in our people. We don't have a drive. That's where we're lacking. We need a drive to tell ourselves that I want to be a superstar. I would be there too long. I got to double up my effort to play a better football. After every game you play, you individually should assess where you was weak. If it's in possession of the ball, passing the ball, or your physicality, if you physically fit, if they was outrunning you, what you should do personally, because you want to become the best. It's your moment. It's your time. Don't wait when you leave football like me and you to say, if I have no. Now is your time. And you should try to excel as fast as possible. Dominicans too like to settle like we can go further in life. Let me just settle for one government and die there. God bless Dominica. Thank you.
Do you agree with what the caller said? Some
Yeah,
of the things he said.
I think if I take the job, I want Mister to come in and do a team talk for me. No, it's a cultural thing as well, right?
Right.
You know, we are very relaxed people. We are, it's very, it'll come tomorrow. And I've already said the players need to take more responsibility. The players need to be more aggressive with their own development, their own learning. Now, I know that wasn't happening previous in the conversations I have now. Like I said, the players are asking me to come back in and do some individual work with me. Players are asking to review games. Players are asking to do certain things. I don't know if that was happening or not before, but from what I'm seeing now, going in, like I said, I think we've inserted a mentality where, okay, you guys have got all this potential. And similar to what the callers just said, I think the caller's spot on. Please don't waste your talent, because tomorrow you're going to wake up and the jersey's never given to you. What happens now? We talk about going down the road of overseas players. What happens if I bring in or a coach brings in 4 or 5 overseas players? Some of these boys might not get a chance again. They have to fight for it. But I think it's important that the guys take a little bit more responsibility. But what I will say to defend them is that they have been doing so, and I do see an improvement. My phone's always going off the hook. Coach, what about this? Coach, what about that? Coach, I watched this. Coach, can I do this? So they are making the effort. But I do agree, we do need to be a little bit more clearer with our intent.
Well, let me ask you. You came back from Dominican Republic. Did you have you had a debriefing with the executive discussion and to find out or they would want to find out from you what happened over there? Were they satisfied? Things like that. Any debriefing?
I send my report in. So I sent my report in, and that's been it so far. So we'll see what comes of that. I'm sure the guys need to take the time to review that and do the necessary. And like I say, they're in the process of appointing a head coach as well, which I'm sure they're also very busy with. So we haven't had any sit down conversations as such. A few of the executive members reached out to me when we were away. And we had little individual conversations. But in terms of sitting down, having any real debriefing as such, hasn't happened. Like I say, I did put my report in and reported back my findings.
The local league starts in 2 weeks' time. When is Dominica's next overseas assignment?
Not now.
So the guys are away in September, the end of September, for roughly 14 days, I believe. And that's where the Nations League will take part. So the guys are in Nations League. They're in Tier B. So the guys are in there. That'll be 4 days across, like I say.
So we'll be playing matches at home in Dominica?
No, they're going to be held. They're going to be held in a central location, I believe.
Central location?
Yeah. So they'll be held in, a DR, a Trinidad, wherever it may be. As I'm led to believe, and that'll be that case. It would be great. I'd love to play on home soil, but I think even just now, it's not possible. We have the women's team going to St. Lucia to play a home game next week, so we still have that issue.
So you mean Dominica's match? So it's supposed to be played in Dominica, but they're going to St. Lucia to play it, right?
Yeah,
what you say?
Yeah, the women's team are going to play in St. Lucia. Yeah, just
why? Because the Windsor Park is not available, right?
The Windsor Park not available. Yeah, true. So,
and the Stockton facility is not up to FIFA standards.
It's not for international registered international games, not yet. But obviously, as you've seen, Mr. Etienne and Co. and the board have put together the improvements to happen there, and I believe that should be happening around sort of May to June time.
Okay.
And that'll bring that up to a standard.
A question I had to ask you. I noticed you brought in a new, I don't know if it's a policy or what, that you had 2 co-captains. Never seen that before. What is the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, I just felt that the guys bounced well off each other. Javid's got skills that are skill sets, personality traits that for me Odell doesn't, and I believe Odell Laville has personality traits that was lacking in Javid, and for me they both deserved their opportunity to lead the country. We were going away for 2 games, and the guys showed, exemplary behaviour. The guys were a real credit to themselves, and that was the reason behind that one.
Okay, well, yeah, I just wanted to find out because yes, Lobby.
Yes. Question for you. Presently, you're looking at our footballers. Presently, our footballers. We have been engaged in CONCACAF CFU for some time now, and I haven't seen, for example, one of our players been in the MLS. Do you see in the near future any of our players heading to the MLS?
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, Java George was playing in Jamaica recently. I know it's not quite MLS, but Java George was there.
Yeah.
We've got players who have the intention to go and do that.
The intention. You said intention, but do they have? You're looking at you're looking at their skill level, their knowledge level to get to the MLS at that level. I mean, nothing is impossible, as you have said. Nothing is impossible. You have to work, first of all, on your feet. You have to do a lot of work on your own. You have to. That's one of the things that you said earlier on that players have to do. They have to take more responsibility. It's very, very important. You have to work on your own. And I think, the football has changed a lot. You got to be quick. You first thing, you need to be fit. Then you need the speed. You need the strength. The players, you need these attributes. But I think getting to the MLS, that is where we have to look. Players they have to be ambitious.
Yeah, I agree, and I think bringing in players like Titus Sandy Jr., who is in the MLS, and watching how he behaves and watching the food he eats and watching the way he recovers around the group will have a great effect on some of those boys. Having an MLS player in the group, a few of the guys have came to me and expressed an interest in being able to go outside and improve them, push their careers. And I'm always here to help those guys. Like I say, it's intention, because I'll help anybody as long as they want to help, but they need to want to help themselves. So I'm here to push those boys to go and play wherever they want in the world. But a lot of that has to come from themselves. If they're not going to give me the dedication that I'm willing to give to them, then it won't happen. So when I say the players have the intention, they've came to me and they've told me that, I want to go and play at that level. I'm willing to work with anybody that's got that desire, but they need to want it themselves. So we'll see.
Yep.
Okay, so Mr. Hurd, I think we have run out of time now. I just want to say thanks for joining us. It was really nice. I am sure we'll have you at something. Football starts in a couple of weeks. I am sure you will be back to the academy thing you're doing and continue the work. And I guess feel free to come back at any time. Feel free.
You know where I am. Anytime at all. Always appreciate it, guys.
No problem, man. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Yes, so we had with us Mr. Kurt Hurd, they call it the interim. I never like this name, the interim head coach. So I think we're going to be joined soon by the president of the Athletics Association, Mr. Williams, because we need to find out what really happened in Grenada. What I found though, years gone by, you could see everything on television. This year we just couldn't see it.
I saw all the games on my cell phone.
Well, yeah, but normally last year, every year you could watch it on Telesat home and watch it.
Yeah, do we have this thing in Jamaica gone?
No, but that station is gone. Yeah, but somebody else could have tried.
Yes, but yet still, it was good that you were able to. Just if you had it, Grenadians could see that, St. Lucian could see that. When the islands made, what they did with their network to carry, the character games, which was of a very high standard. I was very happy at the standard, the islands, it was very, very happy. It was very competitive, very, very competitive. A lot of talented athletes, to do Jamaica as well. Yes, they got, they won handsome. They won. But the talent I saw are wrong. It goes well for the region.
Well, I think we're joined now by the president, Mr. Williams. Good night, sir. Is he there?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I think he should be first. I think I'm seeing him.
Yeah, I'm seeing him.
Mr. Williams, are you there? Or his mic is muted? Which one?
Not his mic. He's not there yet.
Not there yet. He was there because I think I saw him. I don't know what happened. Yeah, we should be joining us because The Dominica team came back on what? Tuesday, Wednesday?
I don't know.
In fact, I seen Barbados on Saturday. They have an island-wide motorcade for the Caribbean athletes in Barbados.
Well, Sebastian, whatever is happening in the island, not surprised. First, all these islands have done, for example, like Barbados, all right, Grenada, for example, over the years, what they have done with their youth program, their school sports. We had this culture in Dominica. We had this, all right?
Good evening.
Right, okay. Let me hold on. We have with us the president, Mr. Williams. Good night, sir.
Pleasant good evening, Mr. Sebastian, Mr. Lowblack, and you're listening.
Right,
Public.
I know you're struggling. I don't know if it's probably the excitement in Green in there, but I was happy that you could join us. Brendan, you came back. The Dominica team, we only won 1 gold medal. You tell listeners, I mean, you were there, you saw what happened. Were you satisfied with the performance of our athletes in Grenada?
From an athletics point of view, the athletes, we expected more medals from the games. But just based on the conversation that Mr. Lowblack said, that is our expectations, but the kids competed at a high level from across the Caribbean. So even if you want to say that you wanted 5 medals, the other kids from the Caribbean wanted the medals as well. So I am proud of the athletes because we were able to attain 1 gold medal, a few national records, 1 national record, and a couple personal bests. One of the things that stood out, besides Mr. James, was the fact that a lot of the schools identified some of the young talent. So 6 of the athletes were actually offered scholarships to attend school in Jamaica and also university in the US. So that is one of the key takeaways from the Caribbean Games for me.
Well, I didn't hear much about Curl. What happened with her down there? What's happened?
So unfortunately, Team Dominica suffered 2 injuries before the games. So we had to make a decision to pull out the athletes instead of allowing them to travel to Grenada. We did not bring them down, so we had to change tickets. So for example, Miss Curl Etienne, she got injured in the finals of champs. She was well ahead of the pack, but then she had to pull up. So she's out for a few weeks. And then we had Mr. Luke Lamar, who also sustained a slight injury. And because he played an integral role in the 4x4 mixed relay, we also had to pull his brother, Gabriel Lamar, from the event. So we did not enter the 4x4 mixed team.
Go ahead, Lobby. Go ahead, Dicey.
Brendan. I have a concern with Corel in Jamaica. That's the second time, I just can't understand that, with this injury, which he's sustaining, and it's just not nice at all. It's just not nice. It is just not nice. I just can't understand.
Mr. Lowblack, I do understand your concern, but an injury is an injury. That's the nature of the sport.
Second time it comes. I mean, it comes in. That's coming. It's too often. But let me tell you, there's something I spoke with Mr. White. We had a discussion with Mr. White, and I told him that there are 2 things I think that yes, we haven't got a track, but we can raise the bar a little more. I think we need to raise. That is my concern. That's why that's coming from me. All right, that we can raise the standard a little, raise it a little bit more competitive, to raise it. And then 2, one of the things that has to be done. We saw that from it. We took Fia from the time Fia came to represent Dominica at the Caribbean Games. She was a hit. Anybody coming from the US to represent at the Caribbean Games, you have to raise your standard. They must not use Dominica standard to qualify. You have to raise their standard, because they're competing at a higher level with better facilities, and expect them to have a higher standard. So that's what that's my my I don't know if you agree with me. We can raise the standard for them.
Okay, so based on the 2 points that you mentioned, one, the track and field standard for the qualification for Caribbean increases every year based on the average times or distances through every year. So it is something. Let me just complete my point. So yes, every year the standard goes up incrementally, and is not set by the association to just be plateaued. We review the standard every year, and it goes up. As it relates to athletes from the US, The only athlete from the US who represented Dominica this year, unfortunately, was Sharifah Troka, and she came off 5th overall in the 800 meters. And what we don't want to do is every athlete representing Dominica should attain the same standard, should go towards the same standard. We do not want to create any inequality based on whether the athlete resides in Dominica or whether the athlete resides in the US. Because what we're doing is that we want to ensure the standard is set so the athletes are within the top 8 of the Carifta Games. And if you look at the results of the athletes who compete in the Carifta Games, yes, they all were within the top 8. So if we're saying that no, yes, we could look at medal podium or medal finishes, then that's a different conversation. But we want the athletes to be competitive when they go out there.
Well, I don't share your sentiments. That is your point of view. But I still think that the athletes in the US come in our standard. First of all, they are competing on a 400-meter track. They have more competition. They have in terms of coaching. We expect them first of all to be a medal contender. You come into the Carifta Games, you should be a medal contender.
No, hold on. Let me answer that. Let me ask you that. So since you come from the US, you have to be a medal contender?
Yes, if you come in, hear me.
Let me hear you.
When we took Fear, for example, Fear came into the Carifta Games. We know exactly, you know exactly.
So anybody that Dominica brings, I'm asking you a question.
Just now, here what I'm saying is this. I believe something else that has to be done. We have to monitor the athletes. You have to know the athletes, what they are doing overseas, what they're competing in. If you're coming to represent Dominica, I'm expecting a higher standard from you. I'm expecting, that is me. Yeah.
So you don't believe, hold on, so you don't believe the local athletic association is in contact with coaches over there to know the progress these students are making?
At the 11th hour I am hearing, I heard about this girl representing Dominica, you know.
Well, maybe they know. They do. Maybe they know. Let him answer.
Yeah, you can be, yes, they are in contact, but if they are competing, at least we have news network in Dominica. They can say the association, there's a PRO. We have athlete A or athlete B looking to represent Dominica. We're looking to monitor that athlete from overseas. Yes, that's what the athlete has been doing. Yes, there must be information. I just heard about this guy. I just heard people, you know, at the 11th hour. But there must
let the president respond now. Let him respond.
Well, Mr. LeBlanc, the team was announced on the 20th of March, so everyone in Dominica was learned about the full composition of the team the same day. However, as the president of the Athletics Association, I do not believe in inequality as relates to whom should represent Dominica, as long as they attain the qualifying mark set by the association. So there should not be a standard based on who resides where. As long as you're going to represent Dominica, the standard would be for all. I understand your sentiment, I understand your views, but however, we have to be fair across the board. The standards doesn't negate whether there's a track and field facility or you run on grass. Before, I knew there was an A and B standard. However, if we're saying to increase the standard to be medal podium finishes only, it has to go for across the board. So we're not saying that, Mr. LeBlanc, so we're not saying that those who compete on grass is just for exposure and those who compete on the synthetic surface is for medals.
Well, Brendan, my sentiments here, I'm in contact with number of former athletes, top athletes in Dominica, and they share the same sentiments I have there. But the thing is that, Brendan, in terms of, I'm saying that in terms, there's no inequality. There is no in terms of discrimination. I'm not discriminating at all. I just want you're out there competing at the highest standard compared to we in Dominica in terms of the level of coaches you have. It's a different ball game out there to athletes in Dominica. As I said earlier on, Brendan, you will hear about the athletes in Dominica. All right, you'll have various meets. I would hear about these athletes competing. Yes, this person has qualified once. Yes, they have improved. One of the, so far we have had 2 or 3, qualifiers for the Carifta Games. You hear about these person names. What I'm saying, If you're overseas, all right, you can say, well, we are looking. Information is very important. Do you have a PRO, Brendan?
Mr. LeBlanc, you are fully aware that we have a PRO.
Well, okay, well, at least you have a PRO. At least we can be informed that John Tom, Jane Harry, these two artists who are overseas, we are looking at them. They have been competing, so we can hear. I don't like to hear the level. I don't like to hear that. I like to hear that all. I hear about your local athletes. I know about your local athletes. You hear nobody talking about them, but I would like to hear from those overseas what they're doing.
Well, Mr. LeBlanc, I do take on your point when you said there's more information required in terms of the overseas athletes. But one point I must note is that, you said that there are a lot of former athletes who, were inquiring. I think the former athletes should also lend their services to the Athletics Association because, to lend. And when I speak of lend, we come to criticize after the games when we do not see a large medal haul like our neighboring islands. But when it comes to assisting, and when I say the assisting, it does not have to be their time, their monies or whatnot, but if it's to advise as well, we only come on board to speak about the success or the lack of success of the teams when they come back. But beforehand, let us start together. Let us start proactively working together towards the next character games. Let us start working proactively.
Go ahead, Mr. William, because I was coming to ask you about that. What we should be thinking of now, do we start now preparing students for next year's character game? Okay, we might say, okay, we only got one medal. Let's look for a target. We say next year we want to have 3 at least. We're moving from 1 to 3. What do you all plan to do from now to at least next year then?
Yeah, because Mr. LeBlanc, I think the question was posed to me. So what we do is we actually looking to roll out our development program because we have been focusing for the past couple of years on grassroots, and that is one to identify the talent or bring new kids into the fold. Now, what we're attempting to do is to develop that talent through talent identification, so they will have targeted training. One of the benefits that we receive from the character games this year is that out of the 15 athletes who qualified for the character games, 6 of them were identified for scholarships. So if we could get those 6 out into universities, well, to high schools and 1 to the university, we would have a clearer pathway into improving the performances. So now we'd have to look at those who remain on island and then identify new talent and give them development training so that they can be on top of the podium or at least within the final for next year character 2, which will be held in a country to be determined in the next couple of weeks.
No, but Brenda, what I was talking about, I heard you just said about you'll have, I mentioned the clubs. Sebastian was saying about what you're doing. First, you must tell Sebastian, there are clubs in Dominica, and we have seasons. You have off-season, we have in-season, you have company season. The clubs are functioning. We have functioning clubs who have been helping. We have functioning clubs, Sebastian.
How many when you say, no, isn't it Dominica Athletics Association, are all the clubs not under the auspices of the so who should I ask the question?
Yeah,
they're in charge, the Dominica Athletics Association.
First of all, yes, we have clubs. He knows what's happening. He was part of the, what's happening. You ever see, you get into your club, you start with your off-season training. What's happening? Yes, they have this thing happening. We have functioning clubs, people.
Yeah, but Mr. LeBlanc, to your point, when we said we as the Athletics Association, it's an ecosystem. The ecosystem consists of also the affiliated members. We have to work in collaboration. We have to state this is what we want to achieve, and we have to ensure that we have the necessary resources that can go to the clubs. Because even though we have the clubs may also require the resources to train these kids, to get these kids out there to various competitions. So yes, when we say we, it's not just the executive dictating what to do, but it's a collaborative effort with the executive and the clubs, because they may have their plans and their programs and they would want to pass it on to the Athletics Association for assistance. So that is why when I say we, let me just make it clear that I speak about the affiliates of the Athletics Association.
Let's take this caller. Hold on. Good evening.
Hello, Sibo. Good evening. How are you?
How are you,
Brendan,
man?
I just want to ask you a question for my own knowledge. I saw on Facebook, Mia Motley was welcoming all the athletes, you understand? I'm just asking, for Addison James, what they did for him?
What they did for Addison James?
When
Addison James.
Welcome,
Addison James.
I was talking to all the athletes, saying they did well for Dominic and Barbados, and welcome them nice. So I'm just asking, was anything done for Addison?
Addison James returned to Jamaica. Addison didn't return back to
Okay, I
Dominica.
wanted to know. So he returned back to Jamaica.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and also Addison is also going to the pen release in the next couple of weeks from the 23rd to the 25th of April. So he'll be attending pen release where he's the defending boys champion in Pennsylvania.
Sibo, this is the the fifth or the sixth medal we have gotten in javelin here during over the years in the Character Games. Yeah, that's we have been doing in the field events in particular. Remember recently we had Shanice Hamilton. Shanice Hamilton back to back, So in the field events, we have been in the field events. So we have been flying our flag. When we get there at the games, at least we have something. At least there's a medal. At least there's an event for sure. All right, the field events, that we
Brendan, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so if I may add, in the history of the Caribbean Games, Dominica has won 46 medals. 46.
Wow. Okay.
46, and that is from 1985. With Mr. Steve Agar winning the first medal, a silver medal. Out of these medals, over 30 medals have been field events. And the first field event medal that we won was from Miss Lisa Kazimi, and that was in 1990. That year, Lisa won gold and Dawn also won bronze. That's Dawn Williams.
Right.
From since then, we have had a lot of individuals winning. We even had high jump medals as well. But majority, like Mr. LeBlanc said, was in the field, and it's between the jumps and the throws.
I just want to ask you, you're right at the stadium. This Douglas girl, well, she won the Austin Silly Award. Last year, she was outstanding. This year, again, she seemed to have everybody looking at her. Tell us about that. Shania Douglas, the Jamaican girl. Tell us about that.
So, based on the role that I had in Carifta, there are a few races that I had the opportunity to observe. I'm actually on the team that adjudicated the winner of the Austin Silly Award. And Shania Douglas proved that she is above and beyond the competitors, because her 100-meter time would have been the second best overall in Carifta's history. And also the 200-meter time of 22:11 is the third fastest all time by under 20 runner. The 22:11 would have also given her a medal at the Olympic Games, at the recently concluded Olympic Games in Paris. So it just shows the caliber of that young lady. And she goes to a school that is not, the big name schools. So that is just a message to all our athletes as well, that there are opportunities in the smaller schools with good coaching system, and there will be more focus. But she's a load of talent. She is a load of talent. And, if she continues that trajectory, she will be a force to be reckoned with. There's word through the grapevine that she's approached by several sponsors who have approached her to secure sponsorship.
Yeah, she's something else. I mean, I watched that girl last year. Then you follow her again this year. She really is a talent, a real talent. But Brendan, what I would like to ask again, tell us about the association plans, because too often things like that happen and then you don't hear anything for a while. What's going forward? Tell us what your plans are. I'm talking about referring to the Athletics Association.
All right, so the plan of the Athletics Association is to focus right now on talent identification. And let us be very honest with that. It takes resources. Look at we spoke about Mia Motley's reception of the Barbados team, but she also announced a matching the contribution of CIBC. CIBC is one of the biggest sponsors of the Barbados Athletics Association, where they pledged $500,000 over 4 years. And if I could get over $2,000 or even $3,000 from one sponsor in Dominica, I would have to say amen. So yes, we have development programs, but it is very limited in what we can do. The government offers certain amount of funding. The Olympic Committee offers certain amount of funding, but majority of it, in turn, we take it to get these kids out to competitions. We do not have enough resources for development programs. But we are working with our coaches, and I would say sometimes we even abuse our coaches because the coaches do it voluntarily. They do not have the necessary resources to get the kids. So we're focusing on talent identification, and that is to train a selected group of individual athletes. So that may be a number of 20. That is the targeted number that we're looking at, and to upskill them so that they can be not only good or medal contenders for the Carifta Games, but we also have the under 18 and under 23 championships to be held in Mexico this year. We have the Youth Olympics to be held in Dakar. We also have the Winston-Tyne Games in Grenada. We have the Ultimate Championships. We have the Commonwealth Games. So we have a few targeted events that we're looking at. But like I said, we need some sponsors and stakeholders to come on board and support. So once we get that, we'll be able to, compensate coaches. We're able to buy the necessary equipment to host camps for the athletes. We're able to bring in coaches from overseas who'd be able to conduct clinics and camps with those athletes to identify prospects, not those that our coaches identify, but probably other talent that that the coaches may not see in other athletes, and also assess and reassess the events that some of our athletes are doing. Because we may have an athlete doing, let's say, the 400 meters, because we feel that our strongest suit is 400 meters, we have that athlete doing that 400 meters, but the athlete may be suited for a 1500 or even 100 meters. So we have to look at that and realistically assess our athletes to say, hey, this would be a better event, but also let go. I think one of the biggest challenges that we have in Dominica.
Go ahead, good. Go ahead.
One of the biggest issues that we have with coaches in Dominica is the lack of collaboration. We have seen of late coaches of such as Mr. Gordon Dorset and Nabi Wallace working together to, what they say, sharpen the athletes they have and work with them cross clubs. But if we can do that, where, for example, the best throws coach in Dominica would work with the best prospects, would be a long way. But some coaches have that, let me hold on to my star. If I hold on to my star, I will get the shine or the claim to fame. So there are things that we have to do to ensure that the best talent is properly nurtured so that we can go on board to be successful at not just Carifta Games, but all games that we attend.
Let's take this caller. Good evening. Good evening.
Brendan, my final question. I'm just asking, do your association approach the private sector to ask them for assistance? Because I also heard Billy was saying that, the private sector should come aboard, and help the athletes. Have you all been writing to them or what? Thank you.
Worked.
In January of 2026, the Dominica Athletics Association wrote to 42 entities in Dominica seeking sponsorships.
Yeah,
so you got responses, London?
We got a response to about 7
from the 43.
42.
Were they positive, the responses?
Some of them were not positive, and some of them we did get sponsorship, but the sponsorship was geared towards solely Carifta.
Wow.
Yeah, but see, but they're overwhelmed.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying, maybe, in Jamaica, the government puts a lot of money into athletics. We know that. We just in Barbados, in fact, as I said earlier, there's a motorcade in Barbados for the Carifta students on Saturday morning and the national motorcade. We saw in Grenada. What I would like to say, maybe, Brendan, you as the president or your association, try and meet with the powers that be. First of all, what do you want to see in school athletics? Schools must show up. You had that thing in Portsmouth. I think they won secondary school and there was nobody there from the school. People were at school. So it's something you all need to sit down with the authorities and see what can be done. Because you cannot have outstanding sports people without putting money. No way. That doesn't work anymore in the world. So maybe it's something you have to think of doing. I don't know. You tell me.
So that is a conversation that we have here with the government of Dominica. And because of that, the government took a very wonderful initiative, and the Minister of Sports attended Carifta this year. So he was attending Carifta Games. He had the opportunity to also speak to various stakeholders in Caribbean athletics and international athletics. So the Minister of Sports, Honorable Oscar George, met with SEBCO, Lord SEBCO, the President of World Athletics. He also met with the President of NACAC, Mr. Mike Sands. He met with various ministers from across the region, for example, Bermuda, St. Lucia, Guyana, and Grenada. And then we discussed, whilst in Grenada, what it would take to get Dominica to that level. So we had those conversations whilst in Grenada, and he was amazed based on what he saw in the stadium. So he promised for us to meet next week so that we can clearly outline a plan for the future of athletics in Dominica. So that is one of the key takeaways of the minister attending the Caribbean Games. He was able to not hear my passion for the sport in Dominica, but actually see it for himself in Grenada.
Okay, well, what I would like to see him do, the Windward Islands Under-19 tournament starts in Dominica this Saturday. So there'll be matches at Granby and Portsmouth. So I want to see him watch it Saturday. I'll be at Portsmouth. I hope I see him there looking at the Dominican youngsters. We want at least them to win the tournament. So we want people to go and support them. So I hope the minister will be watching matches when Dominica playing Granby and Portsmouth starting this Saturday. So what he did, I laud him for that. But we have to do it for all sports. Right, Brendan. So we have to come to the end of the discussion because I think we have another person overseas waiting on us. So your final comment, Brendan. I'm happy. Well, I know I had to beg you to come because the throat. I hope you rest the throat after this interview. I hope you rest the throat. Tell the listeners your final comment.
Yeah, the final thoughts is that yes, we are making strides. We are still a long way off because we need that sponsorship. We need that support. It doesn't have to be financial. It could be in kind, towards, bus fare for the kids, towards equipment and towards proper structured training. So I would just say the Dominica Athletics Association is making strides. We have seen an increase in the number of persons participating. Some of our athletes have won the hearts of persons across the region. But, let us all play a part in the development of athletics. Let's all play a part in the development of sport. Instead of just coming on after the fact and say, hey, Dominica could have been better, be a part of the story, be a part of the success of the athlete, and not only come in to celebrate or criticize after the athletes return from events.
Thank you for that, man. And I just want to thank you because you're always willing to come on. I know you were not too well, but you still made the effort to join us. And thanks very much for that. Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem.
Right.
Thanks much.
Right. Let's take an ad break again, and then when we get back, we should have Miles Bass come on the line, the director of Cricket West Indies, because he has a lot of questions to answer. And at some point tonight, before we close, we should have a senior Fountain, the under-19 captain of Dominica, who will join us for a few minutes. Let's take an ad break now.
When you want the best, you do shop at SDA. Better than the rest, go shop at SDA. And the husband whatever they shop at SDA. You get more for life.
That's just the number. That's the number when before we close. We have it. Not now, not right now. Because the bottom is back.
Friendly with free locations, it's so convenient, and our price is there. Madam, that's where you belong. Oh, tell your mama, tell your papa, shop at SDA. Tell your son and your daughter, shop at SDA. Auntie, nene, and cousin, friend, open power, all of them. Grandma, grandpa, couple, neighbor, girlfriend, boyfriend, side. What? Shop at SDA. Shop at SDA. Shop at SDA. Shop at SDA. Check us out at Pottersville, High Street, and Downtown Rose.
Dominica, it's game time. On or off the field, every goal, corner kick, every penalty. From cricket to football to netball to basketball, Del Natchez is Dominica's #1 and only all-star sports, all gear, all uniform, all access sports center. Get all your team and individual all sportswear, accessories, and fitness comfort apparel. Del Natchez got it all. From Nike to Lacoste to Puma, Adidas, Psycho Bunny, Levi's, football boots in all sizes, hoses, shin guards, goalkeeper gloves, sneakers for running, jogging, walking, climbing, hiking, or tracking, softball, cricket balls, sports trophies, and all sports gear and wear. Your sports dominance begins at Del Natchez. Oubliez jouer, sway, sauter, marcher, éventuer, track pants, tops, shorts, sports bras, in all neutral or delicate fluorescent colored sports fabrics. Only at Del Natchez, proud sponsor the Sports Wrap, interactive sports review, results, analysis, predictions, and sports commentary. Del Natchez, Arcade George 5th Street, lower down from Ace Shillingford Shopping Center. The economic market, Dominica revolves at AC Shillingford and Company. For timeless, trusted, dependable, comprehensive insurance coverage, it has to be New India Insurance. Need anything overseas? Shopbox Dominica Isle of Freight is your advance on-time delivery right to your doorstep. For super savings on all your groceries, come to ACS Super Shopping Center for laundry, groceries, cooking, beverages, and event supplies on King Jonathan Street. ACS 7-Eleven on High Street, supplying your everyday essentials. Fill up your vehicle gas tanks, get your cooking gas, and top-ups of all kinds. Or go to 7-Eleven Portersville, where the best-kept secret is conveniently located upstairs in the confidential escape or staycation self-contained accommodations at the Porter's Place. AC Shillingford, where you spend less and get more.
And we also want to thank Josephine Gabriel, the suppliers of Tropita, manufactured in Dominica, the best water in Dominica, really, Tropita water. And we have to congratulate them with they just invested heavily in the company, and they're always willing to supply us with Tropita water. And we want to say thanks to them, thanks to Del Nages Sports Store, thanks to AC Shillingford as well. We'll soon be joined by the Cricket West Indies Director of Cricket, because first-class cricket comes back to the Caribbean starting on Sunday. You know, when I played cricket, it was always starting on a Friday, so you could get the crowds in for the weekend and finish on Monday. Now I see they starting matches on a Sunday.
Debo.
Hold on, and that's why I want to ask Mile Bascom, what's the reason for that? I don't understand it. Why you starting on Sunday and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, people have to go to work? Whereas if you start on Friday, you have at least Saturday and Sunday and Monday. So I don't understand it. Yeah, go ahead, LeBlanc.
I'm just laughing, Sebastian. You had Brendan there. You did anything about the track? Is it in the sky still?
Well, you should have asked him that.
You are there as the host.
No, but you're asking him questions, Lobby. You can ask him. I don't tell you what question to ask him.
As the second time, Sebastian, before the Olympic, the Crafter Games, he was there. No, after he's there. Nothing about it. Nothing.
No, well, that is why when we bring people here, we want answers. So you ask him. The idea is to get answered when you bring guests on here. So you could have asked him.
If he was sincere, he was from the beginning, so he spoke about that. He said by March, we'll have seen movements. All right, we're in April now. At all.
Well, boy, I'm not even thinking of those things. I don't know when we'll ever see them. We look at the cricket. This is the third year now. This is the third year. This year, there'll be no international cricket in Dominica. In fact, between June and August, I was checking, there will be 20-something days of cricket in the Caribbean, and all the matches will be in Antigua, Jamaica, Guyana, Trinidad. In fact, I see Barbados making noise now that they're not getting cricket, so it is just a problem. What we probably can do while we wait in Bascom, let me see if we can get Mr. Arsenio Fountain, the captain of the Dominica Under-19 team, quickly so that he can speak to us, because while we were in Bascom.
Another question, Sebastian. If the girl in Jamaica, look at that, back to back, she's the same injury, been injured.
Well, I didn't even know she was injured. That's why I asked the question. I didn't know.
Won't you you only have serious concern about what's happening there?
Well, that's why I said the association, if they might be in touch with the people. Because that's why I asked the question. I didn't hear him with it at all. I was wondering.
But there are things, Sebastian, you can't bring a person from overseas to come and run in Dominica and the place in 6 of... No, I don't accept it at all. I just can't accept it. And you have to inform the nation. People have to know exactly. You can't at the 11th hour, you have, Jane, competing representing Dominica. They want to ask him if you have a PRO. What's the work of the PRO? What is the work? The Football Association, you have an active PRO.
Okay, Lobby, hold on. We have the captain of the Dominica Under-19 team, Arsenio Fountain. Let's have a small chat with Arsenio. Good night. How are you?
I'm doing fine, man.
Okay, you're ready for this weekend? You all ready? You guys ready?
Victory.
Say it again. I didn't hear that. What did you say?
I did not hear you.
I asked you if you all are ready. The tournament starts on Saturday. Are you all ready?
Yes, we are. Very much.
So, what can you tell us? Tell the listeners. Obviously, people are going to be supporting you all. You all play, I know, in Portsmouth on Saturday. What can Dominican look forward to? Tell us.
Will you repeat, please? I'm hearing you properly now.
You're not hearing us properly? You hearing me now?
Yeah, no.
Right. So I was saying to you, what can Dominicans look forward to from you guys?
In my opinion, for a lot. I mean, in my opinion, we have a power-pack team. I mean, we have a lot of players, very good players. Plus we have some players coming up from the Northern Assistant, putting performances like MVP of the tournament. We have one of the batsmen going 100. We know it. So I was like, we have a very good team, and I think you would go out and do the best you can and give the fans what they want.
And I'm sure you yourself, because you missed out on the under-19 team, the World Cup, the West Indies under-19, I'm sure you're looking forward to doing very well in this tournament, right?
Yes, I am.
You should be motivated to do well.
Yeah, I'm very much motivated, man.
Because, go ahead.
We talk about Bowman not making the World Cup squad on reserve, but I just want him to come back harder and do better and make sure that I can put myself on that squad.
Yeah, because you still have a chance in the next World Cup. You're still young enough. So that from now, you have to start making runs. We want to see runs. So you have to give yourself a target for this tournament, which starts on Saturday, right?
Yeah, I have some goals written down, man.
Right. So you should have your goal. You don't want to tell people now. You know in your mind, you have it written down somewhere. What are your goals? And I'm sure you want to beg Dominican, something you have to beg to come and watch you guys on Saturday, right? The first match is on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
So who you play first on Saturday in Portsmouth?
You play Grenada first.
Right. Grenada, Portsmouth Saturday. Sunday you go to Granby. And then there's a rest day on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday you play again in Portsmouth, right? Tuesday and Wednesday in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to urge Dominicans, the parents in particular, love the school children, go down and support the youngsters. There are matches in Portsmouth and Granby. So we want Dominicans to go and support our youngsters. I don't want to keep you too long. I'm sure maybe you all have team meeting because the under 15 boys, have they come back from Antigua?
Yeah, they came back today. Some of them came back today, some came back yesterday.
Right. So the full contingent should be there. In fact, one of them was the player of the tournament in Antigua as well. One of the under 15 boys, right? One of the boys was the player of the tournament in Antigua, one of our guys for the Windward Islands.
Yeah, he was the player of the tournament.
Right. Okay, so we don't want to keep you too long. So I'll be in Portsmouth myself. I'll come and watch you guys. And I want to wish the entire team all the best for the tournament which starts on Saturday. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Right. No problem. Thank you. Right. We're still waiting on Miles Bascom. I think he's sending a message. He should be for us at the time. Yeah, I think he's there now. Well, let's see. Yes, yeah, he says he's there. Yeah, I think he's on. Right. How we used to always call him the scientist, eh? You know, this guy, he always into all sorts of stuff. You see the kind of glasses he wears now, like a real scientist. Miles, good night. Good night, man.
Good night to you, Mr. Sebastian and Mr. Loblack.
Oh, you heard Loblack, right? Yeah.
Yes. And,
yeah, you know, I'm sure he would have questions for you, eh? I'm sure you'd have questions for you.
Yes, I'm seeing him sitting upright in his chair as if he was, he was prime and ready.
Okay, Mike, let's get straight to it. The first class competition starts on Sunday. Now we have a new format. It is called a bilateral series. When you played, when I played, we had matches against everybody. Now it's a different format. Now I want you to tell listeners, what is the reason for the new format, and explain it to people, because a lot of people don't understand it. So the floor is open for you now to tell listeners.
Yeah, so it's driven by the objective of reducing our operational costs. I'm sure that many of your listeners, would have heard about, how tight the financial situation is, and this is, it's not unique to Cricket West Indies. The global cricket landscape is shifting continuously, right? And there are repercussions for that shift. One of those being a marked reduction, a very significant reduction in what you get from television rights for your tours, and that is probably the second highest line item in terms of revenue for CWI. So based on what we are seeing, there's a recognition that we have to pretty much tighten the straps until we have a pretty good understanding of, where our revenue drivers will come from 2027 onwards. That being said, we still had a mandate to ensure that whatever cricket we play can serve the purpose of playing a tournament, right? So no one is happy about reducing games. You definitely would be aware that persons have been calling for an increase in games, right? But it's a very significant sum, just to host one first-class match. It is a pretty significant figure. So what we've tried to do is work within the parameters that we have, come up with something that we believe can solve both purposes, help us to meet both objectives. So one objective to reduce operational costs, and the second objective to still have enough quality competition that would allow us to spot talent, give players enough games to get them ready to compete internationally, right? And those players who are existing test players, they would get enough cricket of a certain standard to jumpstart their preparation for the international home series.
Right. Okay. In Antigua, Windward Island's going to be in Antigua. Leeward Island's going to be there. Trinidad going to be there, and Guyana. So why couldn't you all have, instead of playing the Windward Islands playing Guyana 3 times, Trinidad playing Leeward 3 times, and the other one, which is the other one? No,
Barbados and Jamaica.
Barbados and Jamaica played it. So why couldn't be in the free matches, Windward plays Guyana, then they play against Trinidad and they play against Leeward Islands. So you have different opposition instead of 2 countries playing 3 weekends in a row. To me, that would make much more sense to go in that route.
Well, that only serves the purpose for the 4 teams that are in Antigua, right? So then you will have the anomaly of 1 pair of teams playing a bilateral series, and then the other 4 teams playing a completely different format. Right, so we need to maintain consistency across formats, and of course the shift that resulted in the Windward Islands and Guyana playing their matches in Antigua was circumstantial. It was as a result of the facility in St. Vincent and the Grenadines not being available at the time to host that bilateral series. So it's not practical to have 1 group of teams playing 1 format and then the Barbados, Jamaica playing a bilateral series.
But original, from what I heard and what you would know, the original thing was to have all 6 teams in Antigua, because there are 3 grounds in Antigua now. You have the Serviv Stadium, you have the ARG, and you have the Coolidge. Can you tell listeners what was the reason that was shelved? Instead of all 6 teams in Antigua playing round robin, I know you mentioned about, was finance the main reason why that was done?
Yes, it's still driven by the aim to reduce operational costs, because what happens when you have those teams, all of those teams in Antigua? You mentioned 3 facilities, so it means that 3 facilities will be played. Those 3 matches will be played back to back to back on those 3 facilities. So after about 3 rounds, then that square is pretty much done for, right? And it would require some time to be rehabilitated so that we can keep a good standard of cricket. So it would have meant playing 3 rounds and then coming back to finish, right? So to come back, you introduce another set of operational costs, flights home and flights back, and of course that format has a couple more matches as well. So as much as it's a small change in terms of the number of matches between that format and what we're playing now, there is still a significant reduction in operational costs because we were able to cut out that extra set of flights for all teams.
Okay. You know, something I found strange, Miles, that a decision that was taken by, well, you're the director of cricket, that Azari Joseph was down for a long time. He's injured.
Yes.
Jaden Seals was prevented by the board from going to play cricket, county cricket in England. They talk about load management. Shama Joseph himself.
Not by the board.
Huh?
It's by the board. It's not by the board.
It's not by the board.
No, it's a management decision. It's a cricket department decision.
Well, that's you. Well, you're right. You're the director of cricket, so that comes to you. So the point I want to make then, why allow Azari Joseph, a guy who was injured, to go to Pakistan to play in the PSL, when to me, it would have been better to have him playing in Antigua, where you as could have managed him and manage his workload. Explain that decision to me, please.
Well, we can still manage his workload from Pakistan because, I mean, he has matches and he has training. We have a wearable device that would feed us information about, you know, his workload. So we can still manage that. We also have Otis Gibson, who is our newest bowling consultant on contract, who is a coach in Pakistan as well, who we have tasked with, you know, looking after Azari, albeit they are not with the same team, but definitely in the same time zone, which makes it a lot easier in terms of communicating frequently. So that's one. Two, a part of coming back to high-level competitive cricket, you have to return to competition. So in Azari's case, the PSL provided an opportunity for him to return to competition without the load of, for example, a 4-day match, right? So he has a maximum of 4 overs that he could bowl in any T20 game. And, you know, he will still be competing against good quality opposition. So he gets competition and he gets to gradually build his load as opposed to staying in the West Indies and going through training for a 4-day tournament and then going into a 4-day tournament where he could be bowling as much as 15 overs in a day, right? So we weren't quite prepared to put him under that level of stress in terms of a 4-day match where he could be bowling up to 15 overs a day. But we were very satisfied for him to play some competitive cricket, but he had a limited, he had a cap sort of workload by virtue of only being able to bowl 4 overs in any given T20 match, right? Okay. And then the other situation with Jaden Seals is that we are looking at Jaden. If we look at what's upcoming, we have white ball series against Sri Lanka, followed by a test series against Sri Lanka. In that white ball series, we have 3 ODIs that are very crucial to our chances for automatic qualification to the 2027 World Cup, right? Every test match is important in the World Test Championship. Then we have another 5 ODIs against New
Zealand.
And then we followed up by 2 test matches in relatively short order. And then that is followed immediately by CPL, which is followed immediately by a white ball series tour to India, and then followed immediately by a test series in Bangladesh. So from the start of the home season, there's pretty much non-stop cricket all the way until late October, thereabout. So the decision to not allow him to go and play county cricket was just a matter of not extending that season any further, because the county season, as you know, has started. Right? So he would have already started playing cricket, and then he will have had all of that cricket still in front of him to play all the way down to late October.
Okay. You just mentioned about Otis Gibson, who is, when did this contract start, Miles? Otis Gibson, you say he's the now bowling consultant from the board. When did that contract start?
His contract is effective for March.
Right.
With these negotiations sometime, in terms of the date that the contract is proposed to start and the actual date when it is executed, you know, there is and there was a little bit of a delay, but it is still effective 1st of March.
Okay, right.
And
the point I would come to, you gave him a job as a bowling consultant.
Yes.
He's now in Pakistan as the head coach of a franchise team in the PSL.
Yes.
Wouldn't it have been better to have Otis Gibson? We just had this under 15 team tournament where he could have been there watching the guy, helping the youngsters at under 15, because the bowling consultant also followed now by the first class competition starts the Sunday. So wouldn't it have been better? Wouldn't he have been better served by being in the Caribbean, monitoring this thing, than being in Pakistan, helping a franchise in Pakistan?
Right. So the consultant role is a contractor's position, right? So it's not full time. Sorry, it's not full time by any means. So he's not going to be stationed in the region for the duration of his contract, right? What we have done is that we have sat with him and looked at the obligations that he has, and we have worked out around those obligations where we can get good impact for his expertise, right? So his first assignment, and let me just backtrack a little bit. So obviously you know that even before the war in the Gulf, Pakistan and Afghanistan were locked in battle. So for some time there was a question as to whether the PSL, even though we knew he had a contract in the PSL, there was a question as to whether the PSL would take place. And if it did not take place, then he would have been available to come and do some work with us ahead of the championship. So that is the reason why his contract was executed for the 1st of March, just in the event that if the PSL did not go forward, that he would be able to come in. We actually had a fast bowling camp sort of tentatively scheduled pending his availability, right? But we also have a plan in case the PSL went forward, that we would be able to make up for that at a point in the future.
Okay. Lobi, go ahead. I know you're eager to ask me a question. I know you're eager. Go ahead. It's right there.
The matter of being eager, Sebastian. Where I am a West Indian, I was talking about the people in the Caribbean right now. We are hemorrhaging because we are consistently being inconsistent. And we do not know when there will be when we will see success coming from success, because all we just hear it's just been disappointments upon disappointments, so disappointment upon disappointment. And you have been wrong as a director, and you have seen sports all over the world, and you have seen coach after tournaments, people have been relieved from their posts. Why Sammy has not been relieved from his post right now? I mean, why? And if you just now, sir, just
go
now.
ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, just now. If you do a survey, that is talking on my heart. If you do a survey right now in the Caribbean, you will agree with me that this sentiment, which I was talking about there, is something that is being spoken about in the Caribbean right now. And to make matters worse, to make the guy the coach of all versions of the game. We are just not doing well. We are not doing well. There's no reason to have him there. We need, give a change. There's no reason. Why? Go ahead now.
Okay. So I mean, I understand the frustration, and you say you're West Indian. I'm sure you recognize that we're all West Indians, and we feel the hurt. I mean, just as much as I could argue more, because when you've toiled and worked, and you're at work at 7:48 p.m. at night after you've worked for the entire day, you also yearn for the success of the team, and the reality is that it will take time. We were great when we were matching talents on the field, and nobody could outmatch us, right, on talent. Now we are battling. We are coming up against systems that have been engineered by these other full member teams over years, and many of which have been based on the success of our past teams. And they have been able to turn those observations about how West Indies played into actionable, systematic practices that continue to churn out professional players of international standard, right? And we are trying to build those systems of our own, right? And many of these systems cost money, one, and two, they will take time to be implemented and to start bearing the fruits that will see us become consistent in the long term, right? Now, in terms of the head coach, while I do understand that many people may share that sentiment, right? The question is whether that sentiment comes from a place of logic or if it comes from an emotional place.
The logic,
right?
bro.
Because logic will tell us
that
we have changed coach after coach after coach. We have used foreign coaches. We have used coaches from within the region.
Caller, stand by.
Continue to change while the performance of the team has not become consistent by virtue of any coach who has come and been appointed. And the inconsistency of the team has not changed by virtue of changing a coach.
But let me
hold on, Nobby.
Right?
Let's take this caller. 1 minute, guys. Good evening, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
I want to ask the director. Good evening, sir.
Go ahead, Bob. Make your point.
What is being done to get the Caribbean public to come out and see our best players? Playing cricket to empty stadiums cannot help us. We need to have our players and the people in the Caribbean going to see our best players like in the past.
Okay, all right, Bob, let him answer. Okay, come.
And I want to know what is being done to do that. What is being done to do this?
Okay, let him answer. He has to complete his answer to Low Black, and then he'll deal with your answer. Go ahead, Miles. Thank you.
Yeah. So just to finish the point on the coach.
Yeah.
What we are trying to do at this point is to sort of build a plan for each of our teams, for every West Indies team in each format, right? And what the coach is being judged on is the quality of that plan and how well he executes that plan if there is progress in that direction, right? And if we are not seeing progress, then, I could understand that sentiment, right? And obviously, the number one marker for progress would be increase in wins, etc. But beyond that, we have to also develop players. We have to have a consistent brand that we play across formats. All of these things are things that the coach is responsible for doing and for developing. And we are seeing some progress in those areas, right? And that is not an excuse for not winning matches. But I'm saying that whenever you change your coach, you basically clear the board and start over from scratch. And I don't know if that actually helps the process or if it hurts it.
Go ahead, Miles. Go ahead. Finish.
No, well, I was just about to speak on the question from the caller.
Your caller, right? Go ahead. Yeah.
Right. So, well, the games are advertised, which we do. Ticket prices have been very reasonable. I mean, the women's series, actually in Grenada and in St. Vincent, entry was free, right? So we have been doing a lot to try to encourage people to come out. But again, we know that it's far. The best marketing is having a winning team.
Yeah, true.
Right. So we also have to work on improving our consistency. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't be trying to win matches or improve our consistency, winning matches. I'm just saying that I don't know, Mr. LeBlanc, if the change of a coach gets us to that objective.
But not one with Lobby. As you talk about the coach, what I found. Okay, it's all well. People probably maybe justify talking about Darren Sammy. But between last year, Australia, England, Sri Lanka this year, and Australia as well, in the women, in about 25 matches, the West Indian women might have won 4. Nobody's talking about the white man from Australia should be removed as the coach. And I don't find sometimes we have to be fair. We talk about Sammy, people want not 2 people. But you have a coach who has supervised 80% defeats. And nobody, you don't hear many people speaking about it, Director of Cricket.
You don't hear many people? I hear a lot of people speaking.
Well, probably you hear, but I just find this guy is getting a free rein. The team losing badly, and nobody, but you heard up there talking about other people, but nobody's talking about Shendies, the white guy from Australia. West Indies are losing match after match, series after series, and you don't hear people talking about. Maybe hold on, we have a caller. Hold on, let's take the caller. Lobi, you'll come back to you. That's all. Let's take the caller. Good evening.
Good night, Sibo.
Good evening. Yes, good evening.
I thank Mr. Barnes for coming along. Yeah. Sibo, he said something there which I don't understand. He said in this case of Al-Zari that he's been given to...
Speak a little louder because I don't think we hear you too clearly. Yeah, go ahead.
I said that he said something in the case of Al-Zari. He's been given the opportunity to go to Pakistan. The PSL, and he said, submit qualified players. Something like he said, if you check it back, does it mean that the Caribbean don't have qualified players? And the other question is, it's about Otis Gibson, head coach. What about our coach we had? Wasn't he so good between Ryan to what is his name now?
Which one?
Who was the coach, the bowling coach for our 2022?
Rampal.
Robbie Rampal.
Yeah, Rampal. He couldn't he give me an opportunity. I say, I don't know.
Well, let me just say to you, Rampal is the coach for the team. Thing is a consultant. It doesn't mean he has to travel every team. But I guess he will answer you. Let him answer you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, I didn't get the first part of the question.
What did he say now? The first part,
It was something about qualified players, which I
Yeah, he said you mentioned about the quality of players or something like that. But he also mentioned about
Well, what I mentioned was competitive cricket.
Right.
Competitive cricket.
Mhm.
Right. So that you will get in a tournament setting.
Mhm.
Right. So I'm not saying that we don't have competitive cricket in the region. What I'm saying is that in this window, right, until the West Indies Championship starts, right, there is no competitive cricket of that standard taking place in the West Indies. So it was an opportunity to get Alzari into some high level competition where his overs would still be limited by the T20 format to a max of 4. Right. And then the other part of the question, sorry, was, so yes, the bowling consultant is a different role to the bowling coach.
Yeah.
Right. So what we've found is that, especially, I just ran through the series, all the cricket that we have coming up. Right. So as soon as cricket starts in June, it's cricket all the way until somewhere in November. Right, I think early November, late October, early November. And so it means that the bowling coach is generally with the team, and he will be able to do work with the guys who are with the team. But then we have other players who are just on the fringes, or they might not be with the team while Test cricket is playing, but they will be coming in for one day or T20, and they would need topping up as well. They would need some support. So the bowling consultant will be able to help with those players, as well as in other areas of the system, right? Helping to find other fast bowlers, helping to do some technical work with guys who we believe have the potential, but they might be 1 or 2 changes away, from becoming really world-class quality bowlers. So the idea is that the bowling consultant will help us to sort of shift the focus from just the players who are in the team to pretty much all of those players who we have identified as being capable of becoming international quality, but may just be limited by, whether it's some technical issue or, they need to work on a left arm seamer that needs to work on swinging the ball back, for example. So that is the idea behind bringing in the bowling consultant.
Lobby, go ahead, because we're running out of time. Go ahead, Lobby.
You just said about swinging the ball. I've looking at Sammy's there, that's I'm telling you that. For example, you look at Holder, 6'9". Where is this Yorkers? You look at Shepherd, look at action. Where what's happening? We have, you look at just the T20 there, don't know what bowling. What is happening? I mean, the guys, you look at the test matches, we have 2 on the off stump, 4 on the off, what's happening to us? We've all this us.
So you mentioned Jason Holder. Jason Holder has been one of the leading up to the World Cup. He has been one of the better death bowlers we've had, right? And in fact, probably the one with the most wickets for sure in T20 cricket, right? And you look at Shamar Joseph, for example, who was, who made his name in international cricket in the Test arena, and is gradually making his way into the white ball formats, and was probably one of the most effective bowlers of the Yorker. Definitely for us, he was the most effective bowler of the Yorker, which is not a skill he had a year ago, right? So this is what I'm saying. Yes, probably we're not seeing the progress as fast as we want to see it, and it's not translating into as much wins as we would like. But we see signs that work is being done, that progress is being made.
Mr. Bascom, I'm talking as a person involved in sports, as a coach for years. And if I was involved as a bowling coach, I want from you T20. I want from you. I demand it from you. That 6. I want 2 Yorkers now. That's how you have to. Now have you drill them what you want. You have to drill them.
But you don't know that is not what is happening.
I don't think so.
You
Okay, listen, we run out of time, but we can steal a few minutes. Miles, I just checking the fixtures there. There are 32 days of international cricket in the Caribbean this year between June and August. The matches in Jamaica, you have 6 of them matches. In Guyana, you have another 6. In Antigua, you have
5
in Trinidad, yeah. So you have different touring teams: New Zealand, Sri Lanka, Pakistan.
Yeah.
In fact, you hear Barbados making a lot of noise now, they're not getting cricket. But statistically, and I'm sure you'll agree, in the Caribbean, Dominica and Barbados have arguably the best attendances at cricket. That is a fact. Nobody can deny that. We don't see them on the fixture. Explain to people out there, why is that, Mr. Bascom?
Well, I'm sure you're aware that you have a lot of work going on in the state.
Nobody's free as though we haven't seen cricket there. Go ahead, anyway, go ahead.
Right? So,
go ahead.
So that, and I mean, in the case of Barbados, it is again not a case where any country has been singled out to not have cricket, right? We in response to that, we spoke about the fact that Barbados has had high-level international cricket every year since 2022, at least, right? So in 25, for example, they had the test match against Australia, and they had a full series of 6 matches, West Indies women against South Africa women. That was 2025 alone. In 2024, they had matches in every stage of the World Cup, including the finals, and then they had the, matches against England in 2024, right? And I could go back. So when you look at it from the perspective that, as you said, 32 days of cricket, and they don't have a day of cricket, yes, that does not sound good when it is said in that way. But the reality is that, you know, there are other places that have missed out on cricket, which you know more than most. And it just happens because, one, especially this year, as we talk about tightening the belt strap, every time you take the team from one country to the next, you have a bill of at least $250,000 between chartered flights for teams,
and TV equipment,
and TV crew, right? So every time you are able, right, in a time when you are reducing matches in your first class season, every time you are able to cut out one of those hops to another country, you are able to claw back, you know, $250,000, which could go a long way, you know, for some of these tournaments. So yes, it is unfortunate that the cricket cannot go everywhere, but it's certainly not any deliberate plan to restrict any part of the West Indian public from having access to.
Well, I'm glad people in Dominica heard you. So the people heard your explanation. Well, you know, my brother, you'll have to come back because, you know, although we stole some time, we run out of time. So we have to do that again because there's still more information we need to give out to people out there. So I know you're going to be busy this weekend. Cricket starts on Sunday in Antigua. I mean, I know they arrived in Antigua about an hour ago. They're in Antigua, and I'm sure you will probably go and pay some attention to them. You played on that team at some point. So they're in Antigua. So I want to wish, although I'm not so confident about their bowling in that tournament, but we'll see how it goes when cricket starts on Sunday. The Windward Islands under 19 tournament starts on Saturday as well. Dominica will be playing Grenada. The match starts it's a 50-over competition for people out there. I'll be in Portsmouth myself. They play in Portsmouth Saturday. They go to Granby on Sunday. So, Mr. Bascom, thank you for joining. We'll talk again, and we need to bring you back because time goes so quickly when you're having a good discussion. Thank you so much. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. So, listeners, good night. On behalf of Emmanuel LeBlanc, I'm Lockett Sebastian. I want to say good night. We'll be back next week. Good night, everybody. Go to watch the Dominica under 19 boys play in Portsmouth on Saturday. Good night.
I'll put the lunch for you now. If you want. The breakfast up there.
But fortunately, we've got inside.
No, of course.
Inside is the condition of butterfly. Discover this often long lasting.
Cold, man.
Still. Protect your vibrance. With a refreshing scent.